Hello and welcome to The Boy and the Bear on the night that Rangers are through to another phase of European football. Losing 2-1 tonight, but I am joined as always by Scotty boy, who still can't crack a smile. Scotty, take it away, mate. How was the game? You're just straight off the back of it. Fill us in.
That was a slog, I'm not going to lie. That was a tough watch. I thought didn't think it would be an easy night, but it just made it so tough for ourselves. Like, just sloppy play, sloppy passing. We're supposed to be this ball dominant team, and we could barely string 3 passes together for 35 minutes. In the first half, it was I think I saw the stat was 16 against us to 3 or something against Pilsen in the first half. I'm like, what is going on? Diomande couldn't keep a hold of the ball. He just kept giving it away. It kept bouncing off him. Dessers had one of those halves where it was like he would do a good touch and bring it in, and then nobody was around him, or when there was people around him, he would lose it. The wingers were quite ineffective tonight, and it was the same we saw the weekend. Slow. It was really slow, and I know there's that. In Europe you want to play smart, but I just felt we were way too many chances, by trying to lure them in, and we were passing it about the back, and we almost got caught a few times, and Jack Butland was, I think, is one of the only reasons that it wasn't a cricket score, because we were honestly that bad. And I'm trying to be positive about Russell Martin, and so far it's 6 games into his tenure, but honestly it was a tough watch.
Yeah, Scotty, before we go into the game a little bit more, because I was going to ask you about that, I actually seen a really interesting piece. It was actually Ali McCoist and Neil Lennon, believe it or not, speaking on the radio yesterday. And Neil Lennon, of all people, was the one that was cutting Russell Martin and the Rangers boys a little bit of slack, just saying that if you look back in the history of kind of like Celtic or Rangers when they play in this time, both in the league and in Europe, it is a bit stop-start just because of the nature of it and trying to get everybody up to speed, and it's still coming into pre-season. I mean, on tonight's performance, could you just tell from early doors it was just one of those games where Rangers knew they had a 3-0 lead, and it was about do not concede 3 goals and just get through this?
Aye, it was like damage limitations, and get through the tie. We've got a commanding lead from the first half, but let's just not do anything daft. Let's not do anything stupid to overplay ourselves or our hand and then be exposed. But I felt like it was a bit dangerous at times, because we just seemed to invite a lot more pressure on, and we knew they were going to be pressing us really aggressively, but we just couldn't seem to play out of the press at all. We kept getting stuffed a couple of passes in, and then the midfield again, I mentioned the midfield balance just doesn't work. I don't know if that's because he's got Dio playing on the right hand side, and he's got a right footer in Cameron or Raskin playing over on the left hand side, and you're cutting your natural balance off.
Yeah. How was Cameron apart from his goal, Scotty?
No, he was good. He put himself about. He was trying to make those third man runs. He was trying to be the open man, and it was difficult for him, I think, in the first half, just because we were so poor. And in the second half, he does all of the work. He runs into the box, and he's there, he stays there, which is what we didn't have in the first half. So I think he proved himself again that he's more than capable of playing at this, for Rangers in Europe, and he's a good player. I think he's going to surprise a few people who have maybe thought, oh, it's another Scottish talent, it's this Rangers revolution. But he's done really well, and he was one of the better players tonight. Raskin in the 6, you know exactly what you're getting from Raskin. He was arguably one of the best players.
What did you make of Russell Martin's comments going into the game about Raskin and having his head turned? I thought it was really interesting, just before I come on to you, that the depth he went on it wasn't just that the Rangers were obviously getting interest, but he kind of made the point that it was clubs or agents straight at him, which I thought was... Yeah.
I think, is that not the way modern transfers now happen? It's you sound out the player first, you agree everything in principle, and then you go to the club and say, oh well, your player wants to move, so let's get a deal done. So, yeah, I think it's that's the question. He's got one more year left in his contract. He's got 2 years or something. He needs to sign a contract now, otherwise we have to let him go, because that's when his value is going to be maximum, and he's also got a World Cup year. So it's a really difficult position I think we're in, and I think he's the best midfielder in the club. I think he's the best player in the club.
I think you've said he's the best midfielder in the country at one point.
I still stand by that. Like, I would put him up against Callum McGregor any day of the week. I think he's brilliant. You can clip that if you want. I don't really care. But
We clip it all, mate, don't you?
Yeah, I know. But no, I think he's the best midfielder, and I just think the system that he was being asked to do just doesn't suit his game. But when you've got somebody who's a number 6 playing for Belgium national team, and then you're trying to shoehorn, no disrespect to Joe Rothwell, but a championship journeyman like over a Belgian national team number 6, I think the manager's got to take that one on the chin.
Mm-hmm.
But he was very, very good tonight. I just think he was let down by those around him. Like, there wasn't a lot of movement from other areas, and even the wingers struggled tonight. Like Ant-Man and Gassama, a lot of positive, look very good players, but just, I don't know, the system just seems to stifle them. And I know it's still early days and it's still getting used to it, but it's just like, surely when you watch a system, it's like, okay, you can understand the first few games, it's like getting used to it, but then 6 games in, you should still be able to see something. You should start to see something, like patterns of play that you carve the opposition open. But it's just the same stuff we see over and over again. It's slow, it's too many touches at the back, slow build up, trying to draw and then you kick it to Jack Butland after 4 attempts to try and open them up, but they're not opening, so the keeper gets it, then they push forward to press, and then the keeper has to go long. And Jack Butland's a great keeper, but he's not good with he's not great with the ball at his feet, so he's not accurate enough.
That's why he's not still playing in the Premier League, mate, if we're being honest about it. But
on a goalkeeping ability, there's no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, in the big games, in terms of bailing you out and stuff, the mistakes for Butland last season were quite evident, and we spoke about them quite in depth. But when it actually has come to European football at the start of the season, I think it's safe to say that he's the reason you're probably still in it.
No, I would say so, yeah.
Just going back to the Raskin one, Scotty, if you're saying he's the best midfielder in the country, and I want to spin this two ways to you, is one, would you sell him this window now, with only been 3 weeks left, or secondly, actually, what value would you place on him?
Well, it's a good question. I think to answer the first question, I think it depends on if he's not going to play week in, week out under Martin, and if he's not going to sign a contract, because right now his value is still really high. He's still in that Belgium national squad. I think his value right now, if you're looking at what Celtic sold for Matt O'Reilly, I don't think you would be like stupid to ask for like similar to that value. What was it, like 30 million or something they got for him? I think for a Belgian national, no, but I understand. But like,
the thing is winning trophies.
No, I get winning trophies, but I think for when you look at like his potential, all the attributes he's got, the fact that he's comfortably Belgium's number 6 now. Like, he's getting rave reviews from the national team manager. Like, people, that's hard to do for, especially a top 6, top 5, like, world team.
Listen, we spoke about it last year, didn't we? The fact that when from Celtic's point of view, and I'm sure Paddy would interlude here if he was on, but
I'm sure he's itching to jump on.
Kyogo and his main man Maeda, obviously struggling to make Japan squads and attack. Like, do you know what I mean? Because of playing in Scotland. Yeah, and I'm sure that will be in Raskin's point of view. Yeah,
but I think that's a testament to him, though. If you look at like how good a player he actually is, then if there's other managers at national teams that are looking at Scotland going, I'm not really sure I should take this, but even though, like Pat would say, like, especially Kyogo or Maeda, they're performing, or take Matt O'Reilly, they're performing in the Champions League, but Rangers did really well last year in the Europa League despite having a terrible season. He was one of the main driving forces, especially when Barry Ferguson came in. He added goals, he was all over the pitch. He then gets his call up to the Belgian national team. So I don't think 30 million today's day and age is a laughing matter. I know people are like, oh, that's just stupid, but Celtic are getting it from Matt O'Reilly, who can't get into the Danish national team, or he's on the periphery of the Danish national team. I don't think Rangers would be too far out asking for that. So I know you don't. I can already tell you don't agree with that price tag, but I think if it's like 25 million, right? Say 25 is the fee, and then you add the sell on or the clauses, it brings up to 30. I don't think you, because for a fact, he goes to a Premier League team, is this absolute stormer of a year.
No, I know, but there's always...
No, but then he goes up. I know, but
I mean, mate, where's Joe Aribo?
Oh, I know,
Do you know
I
what
know,
I mean?
I know. It's
and there were boys that played in
but like Kyogo was supposed to be going to Man City last year. Do you know what I mean?
No, I know.
Do you know what I mean? And now he's in League
and
One.
now he's playing for Championship Birmingham, team that's just been promoted. But yeah, I mean, apart from Raskin, who we all know you love in every podcast where he comes up. Anybody else that done the Rangers career any justice tonight?
I'll give him his due. I thought Tav had a good game. I thought Suter, up until like the 80 odd minute or something, he had a very good game. He was solid. Like, his passing was good. He was composed. Defended well when he needed to. But then there's that jump Suter moment where he just loses concentration, and we almost like concede, and then a few minutes later we do. It's 2-1. But I thought he did okay up until that point, and Yefty, he was okay in spells, but then he just absolutely fluffed it for the first, misreads it, slips, and he's all out of sync. And for the second one, his position is all over the place, so I think he needs to do better. I think there's a player in there, but it's like, can he be coachable at this stage? Is Russell Martin, he's already shown he's not the biggest fan of him, and is that going to be a thing? Okay, get him out now. I saw something today that he's got a potential move back to Brazil, like 5 or 6 million euros or something, so we might see him move on. But we need a left back.
Problem is selling players, mate. Now 3 weeks before the window, when we've been banging on our other
we needed to shift him out.
Yeah, you need to be bringing players in. Like, it's not a case of losing
players.
Well,
we're going to have to, just while you're saying that, just before we wrap up, we're going to have to bring in a striker now, because it looks like Cyril Dessers, I wish him a speedy recovery, but it looks like he's done his ACL. And it is the most Dessers thing, though. It's like, he goes down, like, he had one of those kind of indifferent games, but he goes down to feign an injury and actually gets injured. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, so I think that is of the essence. Yeah, absolutely. Wish him a speedy recovery, but I think that's of the essence now to go and get the striker, because Danilo did well when he came on, but he's not mobile enough, I don't think, to play in this system. I think that's his problem.
Well, you've got a striker, mate. Where's he, man?
Oh, apparently he's injured. He's like a Jordan Rosser, 8 to 10 days away. Like, but he might be back for this weekend. But he's already picked up a knock, and he's already behind pre-season. Can you really rush him back before you lose him for the whole season? I don't want to take a chance. I'd rather wait a couple more weeks and then, but
a couple more weeks, Scotty. You're now playing Club Brugge, so yeah. You're playing Club Brugge, mate. Yeah,
because it was Salzburg.
I was trying to keep an eye on the results.
Yeah, it was Salzburg. I saw that we're in the lead before we started recording.
Club Brugge, mate. Obviously, that's.
Well, we played in a pre-season friendly, so.
I know. I think maybe I could be misquoted here, but the year before last, maybe Champions League quarter-finalists. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're a serious outfit.
They're a good team, and they know exactly what they're doing.
Belgian.
Yeah. So
thoughts on that? And if I'll caveat that a little bit more. If we're talking about the next couple of weeks to replacing Dessers, you named a couple other positions. 3 positions on the park that you would like to see filled going into that Club Brugge game, if you're to stand a chance of getting through.
Left back, striker. And I know people were talking about left-sided centre back. I think that's where you need. I think that's your 3 positions.
For the system, mate. For the system, you have to have it.
Like John, unless you're going to play, if you play 3 at the back and use your new.
Not only that, Scotty. I think you need 3 or 4 centre backs of good. Even if you get through to the Europa League now, which is obviously the plus side of what's happened tonight, is that you're gonna need 3-4 centre backs minimum. And John Suter is probably brilliant for home games against, I'll say Dundee, but home games like that. Do you know what I mean? Where you maybe need a little bit more physicality and stuff. Yeah. And it's not as high pressure. But any names on the rim?
Yeah. So it looks like we're signing this 20-year-old left-sided centre back, Nobel Mendy from Real Betis. So, I mean, see, when it comes to December and this African Cup of Nations, we're done. We are done. So if we're not in touching distance of the league.
Well, apparently, according to you, you were done last week. But yeah.
I never said I thought that. I'm just saying people think that. But I think the left-sided centre back is a must. I think the left back, just based on Yefty's, I think we'll look to move him on if there's interest in him. I think it looks like Russell Martin doesn't value him or trust him as a player, so I think we'll look to move him on. Ridvan's close to return to Turkey, so we need left backs. So I think I wouldn't be surprised to see a left back coming in the next week or so, like ramped up, and then towards the end maybe an additional left back. And now with Desser's injury, I think a striker will be the next one in the door after this Noble Mendy fella. So there's that Don Turgeman that is really striker from Maccabi Tel Aviv, I think. Aye.
I'm just mixing two teams together.
Aye, absolutely. Yeah, home I strike gold somewhere. But,
Maccabi Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv. I don't know. You can tell with my Israeli football knowledge is in the gutter. But yeah, I think he's emerged as like the one main striker target that we've had all summer, but it was just a case of to see if Hamza left or Desser's left. I think you need to go and get him, because you don't know the fitness levels of Hamza, man. You don't know his situation if he's away. You can't rely on Danilo or Desser's really. Yeah, well, overall.
Just to wrap up, Scotty, I'm saying you've got a couple of weeks, mate. The first leg is actually played at Ibrox next week, and then you've got the away leg in Bruges, mate. So yeah, there's going to be a few more of these podcasts, but what I would say is absolutely fair play to Rangers. Obviously, I bang on about this all the time on our main podcast. Absolutely superb for Scottish football that we've still got this many teams in Europe. So I'm wishing Dundee United and Hibs obviously all the best this week. And
fingers crossed. I was still flying the flag for the coefficient points. So long may it continue. I mean, it might not be a nice watch for me or other Rangers fans. It might be like heart attack stuff. But if it gets the coefficient points up, we'll do it.
I'm sure we'll see Pat emerge if you don't, mate. So.
Oh yes, you'll be at my door.
You've been listening to The Boy and the Bear. Thanks very much for joining us for this episode. You are able to follow us on social media with all of them. You'll find us at The Boy Bear Pod and the podcast if you are listening. And also on YouTube. Cheers to the Rangers on the next one. Cheers,
mate. Take care. Bye bye.